Before we get into this episode, there's something that might be of interest that I wanted to tell you about. Scene and Heard, who run this podcast, have been asked by Scotland Food and Drink to undertake a strategic review of the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards. Now, these Excellence Awards have been going for almost 20 years and are a huge mainstay of the food and drink sector. But it's time to ensure that they're still relevant. So if you have ever been involved in the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards, or even if you've ever had an opinion about them, we would love for you, please, to complete our survey. So if you go to the OnFARM Twitter, which is at @on_farm UK, and click the link in the bio, there will be a tab in there that will take you to the survey, and it should only take you a very short while to complete, but we would be enormously grateful. Hello, it's Anna and Monty both with you today. Hi, Monty.
Hi, Anna. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you. Very well. You might remember a few months ago, I think back in August actually, we put out a montage of some of the voices of the people that we had spoken to up until that point on the OnFARM series. So we had at that point done a big series with the Royal Highland Society and a huge number of other really, really fascinating episodes.
So today we're here to have a chat about the future of the OnFARM podcast. And maybe we're going to ask for a little bit of help. In fact, we probably are going to ask for a little bit of help. But before we do that, we'd like to play that montage for you again.
Hello, thanks for downloading this episode of OnFARM.
Welcome to a packed episode of OnFARM.
Hi, hello there, it's Farmer Jim here. Just want to say thanks for tuning in and listening to the podcast.
I've wanted to be on this podcast for ages, so I'm really excited that you're now finally here.
I can now see a mini conveyor belt going and a really large tractor just heading right for us at the moment.
Don't worry, we've got the high vis on.
You can see that we've planted hedges along there, and then as we look down towards the River Yugi in the distance there, you can see little bits of woodland and full of native trees and things.
We're all about positivity but realism at the same time. I want us to still be here in 10, 15, 20 years' time when podcasting is totally mainstream.
Then when it comes in to get herself out the sky, she will dangle her legs, wiggle her bum and get herself back into this arena with a beautifully well-timed flight and a fantastic finish. Oh, good girl.
There was this old farmer who came up and he stood at the front of the tent because it's labelled the National Rural Mental Health Forum. He came over and said that he tried to take his life, and he said he walked up the hill with his gun and the dog put his head on his knee, and that's what stopped him.
My name's Rory Robb. I'm an associate of the Whistle Company of Farriers, and I've spent 40 years learning how to shoe horses. The truth of the matter is that you never stop learning.
Thanks to the contributions from the Royal Highland Society and everybody else who's taken part in our podcasts up to now, they have enabled us to gain what's actually quite a powerful position, because we're in the weekly routine for hundreds of farmers. They listen to our podcast, they've got it on auto download, and it's there every Monday morning for them to listen to.
I was not a podcast listener before this all started. It's actually opened up another avenue for people to understand what we do.
We've got a direct line straight to these people.
So on the Saturday morning we had to go out into a ring and stand with this sheep, and then Her Majesty herself came along, which is a big honour to shake hands and meet her like.
And was she as honoured to meet you?
Yes.
Anybody who's listening who has a business or a brand that they think would benefit from sponsoring OnFARM or working in association with us like RAS have done, please get in touch. We've got the ability now to share your messages.
We can reach the audiences. You would benefit from having your brand associated with OnFARM.
A podcast gives you 35 minutes of depth of content, and I think that's so valuable. So if there's a project story that needs to be told, or a family story that needs to be told, or a product that needs to be described, podcasting can do that in a way that other mediums just simply can't. So I think that's what it's about. It's about telling proper stories in an easily digestible way that everybody can understand and enjoy.
If you are an organisation who wants to reach a rural audience, if you're an organisation, a company or someone with a story to tell, if you want to get in touch about how you might be involved, please do.
It brings a bit of glamour to the lambing field, like you can. Floss! Floss! That damn dog.
Spot on. Crikey, that's it's a real mixture of emotions, isn't it, that? Mostly I feel proud that we're able to do this on behalf of the farming industry and get these stories out there. Momentarily, I suppose I feel sad because it's called On Farm and COVID has prevented us from being on farm. And when you hear back to some of the episodes that were recorded on a real farm, they do feel so vibrant, and now we're stuck doing things over Zoom. But that will pass, and yet On Farm will not pass. On Farm will continue. We're about to hit our 50th episode, and that makes me feel really upbeat. Quite emotional to listen to. But what do you think, Monty?
Yeah, no, I'd agree that it gets you. The story of the mental health issues, yeah, that got me listening to that. But actually, there's a lot of uplifting stuff there too. And actually, you know, that was made back in August. That's incredible. It's incredible where we've come since then. Well, we're in January now. We're over a year into this, and it's going strong. It's getting stronger.
The reason why I feel proud, I think, is because when we set out to do this and create On Farm, farming was getting a bit of stick in the media, and still is, to be fair. You know, farmers are never really given credit for what they do in terms of, you know, helping with regard to climate change and looking after animal welfare. And I thought, this is wrong. We need a platform that can get the real and the positive stories out there. And On Farm has delivered that. And I'm determined that On Farm will continue to deliver that for many, many years to come. But it does require a little bit of rallying round and a little bit of support. I think what we've done over the months is we've worked really successfully with a number of different organisations because they recognise the importance of podcasting to get their messages out. So we've worked with the Morden Institute, we've worked with the Royal Highland Society, as we've mentioned, we've worked with Shepherd and Wedderburn, and these have been brilliant episodes and really, really informative. But actually, we've got a whole list up our sleeves of episodes that we really think we should be covering. So sheep worrying is a massive issue at the moment. We want to talk about other types of rural crime. We'd love to talk about young people and careers. We'd love to talk about road safety for horse riders and for cyclists. There's a huge list, and these are issues that need to be covered, I think. But the commercial reality is that they need a sponsor. And that sponsor stands to gain a huge amount because they get the exposure of being involved with us. And they also get the opportunity to be supporting a really important issue. So for me, obviously, I would say this, but it's a bit of a no-brainer. And we'd really just love to hear from people who are keen to engage with us and get involved.
Particularly at the moment, I've enjoyed some of the things that we're doing. You know, we did something with young farmers a couple of weeks back. They had a chat with Rob Wainwright, which was a real sort of story of rural life and sporting life, and bringing young farmers on board was great. And I believe that added a heap of new listeners, young farmer listeners. So hello guys, welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant to have them on board. And one of the things I'm really keen to do is hear more of their voices on the podcast, and maybe allow them to do, as we did with the Rob Wainwright episode, maybe allow them to come on board as co-presenters sometimes. And if someone would like to maybe come on board as a sponsor for some of those episodes that we might be planning, that would be brilliant too.
And I think that emphasises actually that perhaps some of the older generation maybe are still a bit fearful about podcasting because they don't know how it works. But actually, you know, the older generation love listening to the radio, and we're just like a radio show. So we really want to encourage people to get their grannies or their dads or their uncles onto podcasting, because it can appeal, as you say, to the young farmers, but it also can appeal to every age group. And because of that wide appeal, I suppose actually today we're not putting out fresh content, because we've had a few people say to us on Twitter and beyond that, oh, we love the On-Farm podcast, but actually, you've got nearly 50 episodes now. We just need a little bit of a breather to try and catch up on maybe some of the episodes that we might have missed, maybe over Christmas or whatever. So that's what we're doing. Monty had a quite a catchy hashtag, which I now forget, but it's basically catch up week this week.
Yeah, so I think we could go along with something like hashtag OnFarm catch up. As Anna said, we're not putting out something new this week, and there is a massive back catalogue there. We hear about it on social media, but people say it to me as well. Oh, I haven't quite got round to listening to everything yet. I must listen to this one and that one. So, now's your chance. On-farm catch-up.
Absolutely. And we've got episodes planned now. I think we had a scheduling meeting this week. We've got episodes planned now up until beyond the start of May. So we're not short on content. We've got plenty to say, but we just felt as though everybody perhaps just needed a bit of a deep breath and time to listen again, or time to go back. So, or hopefully, this is what we hope, time to get on a phone call with somebody who's not already listening and talk them through how to download a podcast and get them on board as a listener, because it's free to listen, it's free to share. We love doing this, and we've had so much positive feedback, but in order for us to be here forever, we need to encourage more people to listen. It's as simple as that. Everybody listening has the ability to help us, and we are enormously grateful for that. Even if it's just getting your mum to listen, or telling your friend who might be interested in sponsoring us, or subscribing to listen to every episode rather than just every other. There are so many ways, and we're so, so grateful. So I think to summarise, we've been successful, and we're enormously, enormously proud of that. And we couldn't have done it without our listeners and without the, probably now hundreds of participants who we've interviewed over the months. But we still need help. We need people to listen. We need people to share and subscribe. The more listeners we have at the end of the day, and the more interaction we get on social media, the better it is for sponsors to get involved. So if you are a business or an organisation and you are interested, then please just get in touch. We can provide a fast track to the ears of rural audiences all over Scotland and beyond. And I think it's really about mutual support, isn't it? We want to cover important stories, and we just need a bit of help to be able to do that.
But for this week, it's hashtag OnFarm catch-up. Nip onto our website, look at your usual place where you find your podcasts, and check out the back catalogue. There must be something there you haven't listened to. We hope you enjoy it. And tell us on Twitter about your favourite episode, and please use the hashtag OnFarmCatchup.
So thank you again for listening to this slightly unusual episode. Monty and I are off to a conference, the SAOS conference this afternoon. But just wanted to say thank you. Just to recap, though, the things you can do to help us, if you don't mind, is to listen, keep listening, subscribe as well, ask your friends to listen, or your family members, and show them how to do it if they're not sure. And if you're a business or an organisation that you think could be involved in terms of commissioning an episode or sponsoring, we believe that this is the podcast for you. We are performing in the top 10% of all podcasts globally, and pretty recently we were ahead of Jamie Oliver, Nigella Lawson and Heston Blumenthal in the official Apple charts. So we are making an impact, and we believe we can really make an impact on your business too. So thank you again, and we hope to hear from you.